Yesterday, someone decided to post a comment under one of my videos talking about history and how it's not really recorded the way that a lot of people think. I'm going to read his comment, and I'm also going to read what was posted by him on his YouTube channel. We'll start with the basics here. Comment he posted. Plebeians, do not even know what the Novum Instrumentum or Novum Testamentum or New Testament was written by Desiderius Erasmus over the course of 16 years. That's not true, it wasn't 16 years. The first thing he did was rushed in 1 year. A copy of a copy of a copy. An original manuscript doesn't really exist. I agree with you, but then again, it's an oral tradition, so we use what we have. And there's also something that was made before he wrote this that's much better and wasn't rushed. But it was released later because of an agreement that was made between, like, the Pope and somebody. Everything is messed up when it comes to historical literature. The world is ran by devils under the guise of different religions, organizations, top institutions, or universities. They have embellished text and incarnated characters and people over and over and over again. Now, I understand the person's sentiment on this, but I wanted to look up what he was talking about. It was vaguely familiar, but if you're not aware of it, there is a work that's done by somebody who is a Bible scholar that is simply this. Find all of the Gospels according to everybody, the oldest and the newest transliterations over many centuries to figure out what was meant by the people who wrote the originating material that is used for the Bible. And then, once you've done that, translate it into every language, but make sure you consult all of these works. In the case of this individual calling himself, Desiderius Erasmus, or just Erasmus, he didn't do that. He just found a couple of sources. In 1500, there wasn't any Greek New Testament printed or in circulation available. The first printed Greek New Testament was in the 1514 Polyglot Bible compilation of 6 volumes in 4 languages: Hebrew, Aramaic, Latin, and Greek. It had only 15 errors throughout it, and it was given a lot of time to be completed, and it still had 15 errors, but that's acceptable for the time, a surprisingly tiny number of errors, when translating between 4 languages from 4 or more languages with your source material. Its publication was delayed, however, by decree by somebody in political and, unfortunately, political and religious power, the same thing at the time. Desiderius Erasmus rushed his Greek Novum Instrumentum from 1515 to 1516 in 1 year, not 16. It was full of translation, transcription, and typographical mistakes that required further additions to be printed, including 1519 Novum Testamentum and its subsequent additions. It's a slop con artist that did the deed 1 year, not in 16. I also said that, by the way, plebs can look this up in ancient Rome. That was how one stopped being a pleb. Now, I also went to the person's channel and looked up whatever content he has. So the channel got no videos. It was started in 2016, so I went to the discussion tab and looked at what the person posts. And the person posts variations on his or her channel name, Mui Chi, Mui, Gi, Si, Ki, Ti, Fi, Li, and Si. And also Ji, Ji, and Kui. Now, someone in here 8 months ago asked this YouTube channel, where are from my friend? And then the person's response 3 months ago was, I am from. Now, on the person's About page, in Romanian, a Romanian was detected in the Google Translate. It says, the page's claim was, teaching civilization, justice, self-knowledge, knowledge of everything alive, love, peace, and happiness to all human families in Asia and Earth. That's my response. I'm telling him the person's apparent question was, where are you from? And he's Romanian. So, me responding to this person had an effect on them. Now remember, their original posting is that history is made up from bullshit, at least as far as religions and for some reason universities. Why did you felt the need to write what you wrote on my discussion tab panel? And the answer for Muichi here is because someone asked you where you were from, and from your language and from the translation of it, it says you're Romanian. That just means that the language you're using on your About page is Romanian. Those replies aren't even notified, and yet you saw them. I get that you only like to argue and debate what isn't really debatable. You're claiming there is no debate for something I quote-unquote debated. Now, the reason I'm doing this video is he posted under the Marcus Servantking YouTube channel reply video where I point out that Marcus Servantking is, was, always will be, and can never be anything else other than a scam artist, in my opinion, who ran a falconry location and ended up killing a bunch of his birds. But I'm the one who's argumentative and only debates and only do it for things that aren't debatable. Okay, I don't know if this person's saying negative or positive about me at this point, but that's okay. It doesn't matter. Do you like unnecessary friction? Okay, you showed up on my channel and posted a commentary about religion and universities and likened them to each other, which is sometimes true. And brought up that all of it is a copy of a copy of a copy. Yes, by definition, if you're translating from one language a work is in to 4 of them, you're making a copy of a copy of a copy because that's the only way to do it. Unless you can go back in time and get the people who wrote the original works of the Bible to write it in the other languages when they didn't exist necessarily at the time, in a couple of cases here, at least not in modern versions. And more importantly, these are oral traditions that were already a copy of a copy of a copy. And this is the reason I state, very simply, that religion has no basis in demanding that we take everything that is said within it as being factual. Now, under the comment the person made about plebs and my response, you already know PEACE and who commissioned Erasmus to write what and why. No one commissioned him. He volunteered to do it, and he had some angles to do. And again, he's not the first source. And your argumentum ad nauseum here is that you will not accept the fact that I posted that he is not the only one who did this work, and his work is considered lowbrow bullshit and is ignored by anybody who wants to get a decent translation because from the get-go, except for his corrections and his ability to do so, he did a shitty job on his first translation of the New Testament. Meanwhile, the other one that's based on doing it very well, with only a few errors in it, translated the New Testament and the Old Testament, releasing them at the same time, eventually deciding, screw it, since we're already being outdone by Erasmus, let's just go ahead and post this without any errors in it, and they only had a few, and did a complete work, or at least as complete as possible, in multiple languages. Now, the Vulgate and other sources are considered lowbrow or just shit, but they are also based on people at the time saying, we know of this thing, we know of how to transliterate it. So Erasmus can be seen as a source of sorts. But he seems to have copied and pasted a lot of it from that, including being missing parts of it, so it just sort of cuts off in one of the chapters. So why am I answering your question? The reason you showed up to my channel was to make a set of assertions about history under a video where someone claimed phantom time is a real thing because Anatoly, Fomenko, Heribert, Illig, and the others do not like that we actually record history, and it's really hard for you to disrupt it or lie about it unless you decide you're just going to throw it out. That's the video you posted under, along with another video where I sat and debunked somebody who claims to be holier than everybody at one point, who, by the way, eventually turned into a pot farmer after killing off a bunch of falcons. So I'm the one who only does stuff that's undebatable. We're only talking about stuff that can't be debated. In your opinion, I must be wrong, but I'm the one who likes unnecessary friction. Meanwhile, all I did on your channel was post that your communications primarily is in Romanian, and, more importantly, that when someone asked you, where are you from, you didn't answer them. We don't know where you're from, but the language indicates that you are in an area where Romanian is a language that's at least spoken. You could be in the middle of New York City, I don't know. So, is this the only one who asked me questions today? Yeah. Is there a reason for me to reply to this? He asked me to. Why did you post that on my channel? Because someone asked you a question and you didn't answer them. Most plebs don't even know what this yada 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 is. You specifically picked a version of the Bible that wasn't really the first one, wasn't done well, had a lot of errors, and it sounds like you're creating a straw man argument because, well, it is. Do we actually know everything in history? Obviously we don't. Can we trust our history books? No, but it's what we have to work with until we find more data. Is some of this information faked? I'm assuming all of it's to be questioned or is complete bullshit, just like you do. But I don't assume it's an unknowable thing where we should throw our hands up and give up. And I don't post that kind of an opinion under a video about somebody who proposes to do the same thing and then decides to create a complete fantasy universe so he can write some books, get some money, or another person who ended up killing a bunch of falcons he was supposed to take care of and ended up turning into a pot farmer for God or something. Thanks for watching. Have a good day, and good luck with all of that. And no, none of this is going to make any sense because all of this was posted in a nonsensical way. But hey, at least I have at least one tormentor in the pit of hell here to talk to. Bye.